My boyfriend forced me to sleep with others. I was 18 years old. My boyfriend approached me with this proposal. He said, this guy that I'm working with is willing to give me extra work, but we were talking about sharing you because he thinks that you're really cute. He thinks you're really beautiful. And I think that that would be beneficial for us financially. Just the fact that he was working for somebody that thought I was cute and thought that I was pretty, it made me feel good about myself. And I got kind of a big ego about it. But then when he started proposing this as a job, it wasn't cute anymore to me. The first night that he took me over to this guy's house, I had the idea that we were just going to hang out and they might talk about it, but nothing was going to happen. We watched TV for a while and we talked like it was just normal. And then by the time it got to be about 11 o'clock, I saw him look at his watch and I said, "Are you ready to go?" And he was like, "We haven't even begun yet." And so that was when the other man took me into the bedroom and I cried the whole time. Following this specific time with this man that my boyfriend was working with, my boyfriend said, "How was it?" I told him I didn't like it. I told him that I didn't want to be with anybody but him. And if it was all about money, I would find a way to work more hours so I didn't have to do that again. And he said, "You don't have to do that again if you don't want to." I had no idea that my boyfriend was secretly posting my pictures on Craigslist, and he was meeting up with people and having conversations with people about sharing me with them. So once my boyfriend approached me a second time with being intimate with somebody else, I tried to be firmer about it and say, "That made me uncomfortable. I don't want to do that again." He said that I wasn't open-minded enough and that I was just a little girl and that I had no idea the way that the world actually works. So he made me feel really, really small and insignificant. I agreed to meet with another man, and then soon after that, it was another man, and it turned into many men on almost a daily basis. I was working about 16 hours a day at the hospital, and I would come home and he would have another man sitting in our apartment waiting for me. And I just got off a 16-hour double shift and I would just be exhausted. There were so many times that I threatened to go home or break up with him or leave, and he would say that I was nothing, that I could go back to my little hick town and I could go back to being the nothing that I was before I met him. He just manipulated me to thinking that I wasn't good enough, and I had the mentality that if I stayed, this eventually would stop and I would be good enough. I wouldn't have to be selling myself to other people for him. I ended up pregnant by somebody, and my boyfriend was telling me, "I don't want a kid, I'm not going to raise it." Once I had the baby, I told him I was not going to place the baby for adoption. I wasn't going to get rid of the baby. He was not going anywhere. So if he wanted to stay with me, then the baby was going to be part of the package. My son was born in March, and in June, we went to take a motorcycle ride on Route 66. He was under the influence of marijuana when we went on this motorcycle ride, and we were approaching a fire truck on the right-hand side of the highway. And instead of yielding or stopping, he decided to pass them. And then at the last moment, the fire truck decided to pull a U-turn in front of us, so we hit them head on. He walked away without a scratch, and I broke my C6, C7 vertebrae and became a quadriplegic. My baby was 2 months old at the time. I was in the hospital for 3 months, and I went to a rehab hospital where I learned to feed myself and get myself dressed and do all the things that I normally would do before. When I was able-bodied, he never hit me or anything like that. However, once I came home from rehab, he got angry easier. There was one morning that he grabbed me by the ankles and pulled me off the bed, and I laid on the bedroom floor for about 30 minutes until I realized that I could reach my phone. And when he realized that I was texting somebody, he came in and he threw my phone at the wall. The abusive behavior lasted about a year, but within that year, I was going to therapy, like rehab, so I could learn how to do more for myself and use more of my upper body, get stronger, stuff like that. About 10 months after my injury is when I said, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. I'm going to leave. He pulled a gun on me. I had my son in my lap, and there wasn't anything that I could do but shield his face because I didn't want my son to get hurt. I didn't care about myself. After he pulled the gun on me, it was only about 2 months until I was finally able to sneak away from him. At first, he was mad that I left, and then he called me crying, saying, "You were the best thing that ever happened to me. I don't know why you would leave." One day, he decided to show up at my job where I was working, crying, saying, "Please give me another chance. Please, can we make this work?" And I was not having it. And he said, "Can you at least give me one more goodbye kiss?" And I said, "No, I'm not going to do that to either of us. That's not fair." And he got so mad that I wouldn't kiss him that he took my purse. He hit me with my purse. I was able to call the police based on that because he assaulted me at work and I had witnesses and evidence. When he went to court, he pled down to criminal misconduct, but while he was awaiting that trial, he assaulted another girl. And so him assaulting me and then assaulting another girl at the same time gave him about 7 years in prison. After he left my life, it was such a sense of freedom. The therapy that I went through did an incredible job of healing me as far as any bitterness that I had. I still have a hatred towards him, but I'm not scared of him anymore. My message to anybody that's going through sex trafficking or being coerced into giving up their body against their will is there are kind people out there, and there are people that will help you. I didn't think that anybody would understand, and I thought everybody would judge my situation, but I didn't understand that there were people that were willing to help.
I am seen. Are you?